Hello guys, my name's Resoula. I am the creator of this channel, Konglomerat, and this is the 5th Konglomerat Q&A. Let's start with question number 1. This is a pretty common question. I think it gets asked like every Q&A, and I don't think I've answered it every Q&A, but this time around it's Cheta, Ikeg, I don't know, asking, how old are you? Well, during this video at the time of recording, I am 24. Creepy Jixie asks, have you ever played Five Nights at Freddy games? No, and I probably won't. I am not good with horror games, not necessarily in a funny way, I'm just not good with them. Issei asks, if you could change any one thing about YouTube and or Twitch, what would you change and why? There is a lot of things I would change about both of those platforms. They don't do things very intuitively, but let's see, one thing for each. Well, for Twitch, one thing I think I would definitely change is the access to the quality buttons. It's mainly given to partners, and then affiliates kind of have to fight over it, and it's kind of not guaranteed you're going to get a quality button if you're an affiliate. This is silly. YouTube has more partners than Twitch has partners and affiliates combined. And YouTube manages not only to give a quality button to every single video on its platform, not to mention Dailymotion does this too, but it also manages to give it to every single stream on the platform. And YouTube Gaming is one of the most popular streaming platforms in existence. And just as a reminder, over 10 times the amount of people use YouTube compared to Twitch. If YouTube can do it, Twitch can do it. And you can't say, oh, well, YouTube has more money, blah, 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 Twitch can't afford it. Remember what you're talking about. Twitch is owned by Amazon. Amazon! If Google can afford it on YouTube, then Amazon can afford it on Twitch. For YouTube, if I could change any one thing, I know exactly what it would be. I don't even have to think about it. And that would be the stupid, awful content ID system, and the fact that if someone just randomly pays like $20 to register your voice, a clip of your voice saying a couple words with some random ass company that has access to the content ID system, you and all of your videos can get copyright claimed. And you can't, like, you can try to challenge it, but the other person that's working through the system has the rights to deny it, because YouTube doesn't get involved in content ID things, meaning someone can pay $20 to essentially ruin your life on YouTube, and the only way you can challenge it is in court. And until you do challenge it through court, the person fucking with you has no consequences at all and can get your YouTube channel taken down because of this stupid fucking system. Change that. That is the most important thing to change. The fact that it still works the way it does is archaic and nonsensical. Issei also asks, what's something that has changed that you wish hadn't or was returned to the way it used to be? That is a pretty loaded question, and I'm now scanning my brain because there's so many things I could answer this with. To only pick one is pretty difficult. So I was searching through my whole life trying to pick one of these out, but I think instead of going super personal, I'm going to focus on something that actually has to do with gaming. And that is, I wish that TeamSpeak 3 hadn't stopped being the most popular thing, you know, in terms of like voice platforms, because eventually Skype overtook it by a long margin. Eventually Discord overtook it too, and now Discord is starting to creep closer and closer to meeting Skype's numbers. And I just wish that TeamSpeak hadn't lost its popularity, because while the era, like the 10 years or whatever, where TeamSpeak was like the most popular thing and everyone had one, everyone used it, was cancerous at best. You know, if you didn't have TeamSpeak, if you didn't use TeamSpeak, you were considered pretty weird, you were made fun of, and people were just generally dicks to you. It was still easier and better quality, because TeamSpeak, being less the way platforms are now, focused more on things like voice quality and overall features that a lot of platforms today, including Skype and Discord, don't really focus on, and I know because I've used both. And also things like Skype and Discord have been way more accessible than TeamSpeak, which has created this it's a different kind of like condescension you get from the people that have used exclusively those things. When Skype was the main thing everyone used after TeamSpeak 3, it was like a constant nagging. Because this is when more and more people started to get involved in voice platforms that, weren't gamers, for example. And you got all the people that were obsessed with like Facebook and MySpace and Twitter who would they'd nag you, hey, get this, we could talk on this, hey, get this, we could talk on this. It was the most annoying thing. Not that I dislike Skype. I love Skype. I use Skype today. But it was the most annoying thing to deal with. And if you go to Discord instead of TeamSpeak, you have a different kind of condescension there as well. And it's not that you're just like made fun of if you don't use it. Now it's more like you are essentially dead to someone if you don't use it. You might have known someone for 7 years or, a year. You might be their good friend. You played a bunch of games with them. They start using Discord. And now it's kind of like, oh, do you use Discord? No. Well, I guess we're not friends anymore. I'm never going to message you on anything, even though we've been talking primarily through Steam or something, which I've never uninstalled. I'm just never going to talk to you because I've decided to use only Discord and stop using Steam, even though I play games off of Steam. And there's a lot of like high school level condescension, like, oh my god, it's the most popular thing, so you got to use it because the popular table, that's where all the good stuff's at, right? That's where everyone sat in high school, right? That's where all the most quality stuff comes from, right? That's why things like Call of Duty are the most amazing games in existence, right? Because they're popular. I guess it's kind of a lesser of three evils, but I really preferred the condescension you got from TeamSpeak elitists than I did from anywhere else. It's a lot easier to have called them back then an asshole and just moved on, but people that favored Skype extremely never left you alone, and people that favored Discord extremely make it pretty personal and will go after you as a person for not being in love with their platform of choice. Michi D asks, do you have a role model or someone you look up to? Honestly, no. No, I don't. Michi D also asks, can you describe your life in a 6-word sentence? Yes, I can. Go look up Letter Bomb by Green Day and listen to the first 6 words. Ilesh asks, do you ever feel like you're going crazy when you talk to the camera? No, not really. I'm very good at talking to myself. I used to do it all the time as a kid. That probably sounds pretty weird. When I started recording for YouTube or streaming, it did feel a little weird. Not crazy, I felt like, I don't know, like I was weird. Now it's just become pretty natural. Like, I guess this is probably how every single commentator feels. You just feel like you're, doing your job. There's not really much of another feeling to it. Wolf Hazard asks, what was your biggest influence in life to get where you are now? Now, this isn't necessarily a positive influence, but the biggest influence or thing that happened in my life to get me where I am right now, like my life would have been 100 completely % different if this one thing didn't happen, was that when I was 14, when I turned 14, my mom had us move out of New York City up to Westchester into the suburbs. That is definitely the biggest, most influential thing on my life. Because without that, I think I would have actually, instead of ended up gaming so much, like I never would have ended up gaming as much. I don't know if I ever would have transitioned to PC gaming. Maybe, but probably not as much as I have. And I do think for sure that I would have probably ended up going through all the way with getting a college degree and getting a normal job instead of doing YouTube and Twitch for a living, which means I never probably would have moved back to New York City, which would have meant I never would have moved here to North Carolina, which means I'd almost definitely not be making these videos or streaming at all. Probably wouldn't have gotten a VR headset, probably wouldn't have met just about anyone that I talk to right now. That has definitely been the biggest changer of my entire life. YouTube Medical Officer asks, even though you say you don't like VR chat, have you ever tried Second Life? Honestly, I don't remember. I don't think I've tried Second Life. As a kid, there was something else. I can't remember the name of it. Like Mew Chat or something chat that was kind of like Second Life. It's a competitor. And I tried it as a kid, and I didn't really understand the point of it. As an adult, I kind of see why people use it. It's to hang out with your friends. It's like VR chat. You're not supposed to do anything in it. It's not really a game. It's just a platform to hang out with people. I tried it, but because I didn't understand the point of it, I was like, why not just hang out with my friends in real life? Go to the park, you know, like everyone did back then. Or, you know, go play a video game that actually has a point at the time, like RuneScape or World of Warcraft or even Roblox. But, you know, something like that, I never understood the point of it. I don't know if I would like it today. I don't know. Mitch C123 asks, what is your favorite hobby to do outside of YouTube? Because you said hobby, I'm not going to include streaming on Twitch because that's part of my job, technically. I guess it would just be gaming in general. I don't stream or make videos for every single game that I play. Like, I have Butters, my roommate's 3DS, sitting on the table over there. I've been trying out the Pokemon games lately. Recently, I played a bunch of Puzzle Pirates without ever really streaming or doing anything on it. Played a fuck ton of RuneScape in the past few years without doing anything on it. Played like a year of Guild Wars 2 without making anything on it. So, gaming. It's gonna be gaming. Wife9 asks, what do you consider a friend, and who is your best friend? Now, this is a topic I can rant about forever. So let me see if I can narrow it down at least a little. I consider a friend a number of things. I consider to be a pretty good and hard to attain title. I, unlike many people these days, did not lose all sight and clarity on what the word friend means the moment Facebook added friends and everyone started adding everyone because they wanted the largest friends list, and now a friend to most people is literally just, oh, do I talk to this person once in a blue moon? Yes? They're my friend now. No, I consider that to be pretty fucking retarded, and I don't do that. I consider a friend to be someone you can trust, someone who, if someone else did something against you, would take your side. For example, let's say X bullies you, then your friend would maybe say something to X, maybe stand up to X for you, or just generally not hang out with X, or, you know, hold some sort of standard there. Like, let's say one day you get bullied by X, and then your friend is just like, the next day they know about it, and the next day they're like, oh yeah, remember our plans? I'm actually canceling because X invited me to do this. No. I don't care if X is someone you're dating. That is not a friend. And that brings up another thing. I think a friend is someone that you can trust, that the moment they start dating someone will not suddenly change the way they treat you. For example, in high school, a lot. Anytime before I would be willing to call any male my best friend, I waited to see when they got a girlfriend, because they had their most important tests to pass them. If they got a girlfriend, would they continue hanging out with me and talking to me pretty commonly, maybe not as much as usual, but you know, on a regular basis? Or would they suddenly kind of forget I exist and start making plans with only their new girlfriend? Would they only focus her? Am I now a second priority, even though they've only known this girl for like a week or a month and they've known me for years? And if anything really changes there, I don't consider that a friend. I consider a friend someone that will maintain the regularity of their interactions with you. That doesn't mean they have to talk to you every day. That doesn't mean they have to talk to you every week or month. It may only be once a year. But it has to be, a friend is someone that puts in the effort to interact with you in a nice and respectable way on a regular basis. Again, not regular as in often. It could be once a year. You could see each other once a year. You could have one conversation a year. As long as you can trust that person, they put in as much effort as you, I consider that a friend. If you meet someone in a game and you have some good times in the game, but you don't talk on a personal level and you don't hang out more than surface deep in that game, I'd consider that an acquaintance, not a friend. That's not what a friend is. And if you think that's what a friend is, I think you have definitely been affected by things like Facebook and Twitter clouding what you see as a friend, or you were born after the year of 2007. Because as a kid growing up until the age of like 16, I never saw anyone think that that's what a friend was. The regularity of interaction really is a big one, and my roommate Butter challenges me on this every time I say it. He can get pretty condescending with it. He has a pretty strong opinion of it. And he says, you don't have to talk to someone regularly or like all the time to be friends with them. And he says that in response to me saying, you know, it has to be a regular attempt, even if it's just once a year, it has to be a regular attempt. And I use this when describing certain friends of mine over time that have just stopped putting in any effort. I describe that I need them to put in at least 33% of the effort. And he's a very vocal one in challenging that. But the problem here is there seems to be, and it's not just him, a few people don't seem to understand one key difference. There's a difference between someone that you've known that maybe only once every 6 months or whatever, you or he or she will make a random effort to just interact with each other, maybe a rare effort to ask how you're doing, maybe not have a deep conversation, but check up on you, maybe hang out once in a blue moon, and that's it. You're not talking all the time. Again, maybe just once a year, but that is basically what someone like Butter or others say when I describe this, and I do agree that that can still be a friend. But what I describe when they say it is someone more like Fadeless, who used to be in my VR chat videos, who over the past year and a half has not made one effort to talk to me, who in the past I had made several attempts to hang out with or speak to or just check up on, and he would reply, but he'd never make any attempt to do the same. Over a year and a half, the only times I've seen anything from Fadeless, this old VR chat friend, who actually this is related to another question I was asked that we're going to get to, is when someone else or I invite him to something. It has nothing to do with me. He has not attempted to speak to or hang out with me in that time. That is not a friend. That's not even an acquaintance at that point because you don't even interact. That is just a friend's friend. And now when I describe that, a lot of people are quick to tell me, well, you don't have to hang out with the person all the time to be a friend. And I say, yes, I know. But there's just some level of ignorance in some people's heads for some reason where they can't differentiate between someone that puts in literally zero effort when you put in effort into a friendship, such as Fadeless, compared to someone that puts in occasional effort, maybe not a lot of effort, but as time allows, and just frequently checks up on you, like in my instance, Fuyumi, who checks up on me once at least every few months, even if we don't talk all the time. Like I tell anyone that brings this topic up, I need, for me, a friend to put in at least 33% of the effort. I will put in 66%. Yet for some reason, people like Butter, I don't understand the mentality, but it's more than just him. They don't get it. For some reason, when I bring up that I want someone to put in at least 33% of the effort, they're taking it as me saying that I want them to put in 100% of the effort, because Butter responds the same way every time I say that, which is, well, maybe you should put in some of the effort. Meaning he has pretty much ignored almost everything I have said in every one of these instances, and because of that, I believe people that hold this kind of belief of a friendship are actually being more narrow-minded. They're intentionally being ignorant. They are holding an opinion rather than talking about how they want people to treat them. They are seeking ways to blame you for an instance you have with someone, maybe that's a friend of theirs, or friends in general, probably because they exhibit this kind of behavior themselves. In fact, actually, I've never seen someone exhibit that kind of defensiveness over the notion of having to put in 33% of the effort, who did not, at least at some point, completely phase me out of their lives for at least a few months with zero contact at all. That was a long answer, and I knew it would be. I had to kind of think it through in advance, and I still didn't say everything I wanted to say on it. It's a pretty loaded topic because I do find people misuse the word friend a lot these days, and for people that they consider friends, I find that there's a lot of mistreatment that happens, not just towards me, but just towards the word friend in general. But I think it's time to move on, and if someone has any more specific questions on that topic, I'd be glad to answer it in the next Q&A, which, by the way, you can get your question answered for if you leave your question in the comments below right now. And this seems like a great point to interject last month's Patreon shoutouts into this video because I kind of forgot to do them and I was a little busy because Sleepy came to visit. I'm so sorry. For last month's Patreon shoutouts, I'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to Tony, Board Boredom, Turd of Fourth, Charger Gaming, DT Jester, Alesh, The Manvic, Elvaru, Blazing Azrael, and Wolfman MJP. Thank you guys very much for your continued support. You guys make me able to do this kind of thing for a living in many different ways. Your views, the patrons you give over at Patreon, even if it is for the benefit of it. I have a lot of medical bills to pay, so your support literally means the world. If you guys would like to support me, please look in the description and go over to Patreon, and just for $1 a month, you can get access to deleted videos, including an entire deleted episode of Matt9 Plays VR Chat, and it's pretty raunchy. For $5 or more, you get shoutouts once a month like this in a video. You can also get some of those benefits by becoming a channel member you can also do this in the description below, or going to the YouTube channel and hitting join. But let's get back to the video, guys. Nightfire asks, where the fuck did your Twitter go? Dude, I deleted my Twitter like a year or two ago. Alright, not 2 years, but at least a year ago I deleted my Twitter. It's been gone for so long. I made an announcement on my Twitter. I made an announcement on YouTube. I made an announcement in many different places. I've even talked about it in videos, on streams. It's been gone forever. It's never coming back. Deleted off the face of the earth. Asmund Kijus asks, what music do you listen to? A lot. I listen to a lot of music. There's only a few types of music that I don't listen to and don't like. This would include things like hip-hop. I hate hip-hop. Things like dubstep. I hate dubstep. And I hate a lot of electronic music, but I do like a decent amount of electronic music. It really just depends. I do listen to some pop, mostly remixes of pop, but I don't tend to like pop music. And in most cases, just generally anything with rap in it throws me off. It just turns me off, I guess I should say. Because I don't like it, and I'm a complete, in some ways, music snob. And I learned the actual, like the Merriam-Webster, the Oxford, the Cambridge definition of music and how to apply it, and music theory and et cetera, when I was going to school. And just the basis of a lot of the musics that I don't like hip-hop, by definition, do not meet the definition of music, because music needs a few things to be considered music according to definition: rhythm, melody, and harmony. And almost everything that I have said so far tends to lack it in most cases, not all cases. But I do love things like rock and roll, sometimes electronic music. I love metal, all the different types of it. I'm not a metal snob. Oh, metalcore, death metal, deathcore. I don't give a shit about all that. I like the whole shebang. It's great. I love it. I also like classical and a bunch of other things, really. J. Sir Nate asked, did you know that your VR chat videos get the most views? Or VEOs, he typed. Yes, that is why across several playlists, I have made over 300 of them. VR chat content right now is at least, or probably about 1/3 of the content on this channel, between Res Plays VR Chat, Res Streams VR Chat, 2 separate playlists, Mitchie D Plays VR Chat, Ralph Plays VR Chat, my trailer videos, my VR Chat skits, the very few VR Chat community clips things we did before we just ran out of people giving us videos to use, because for some reason we thought that at 2,000 subscribers, a lot of people would want our features even if they only had 100. We were wrong. That was way too early to try to be helpful to anyone, I guess. And there's probably more playlists I'm forgetting than the 7 I just said, where VR Chat videos are spread across. Oh, an 8th one, Matt9 Plays VR Chat. Yeah, there's a lot. There's over 300, probably around 350, and there's going to be more coming from sources that are not me, but yeah. Although, fun fact, SEO-wise, VR Chat videos have not been my most successful. View-wise, yes. SEO-wise, no. That would actually be, strangely enough, my EVE Online guide videos. Kind of weird, because I only made like a few of them. Dark F Kazazdov asks, are you alright? Why, yes. Yes, I am. How you doing? Thinking Austin asks, whatever happened to all of your VR Chat friends? That's a very widespread loaded question, and because I've spent so much time on this Q&A already, I'm not going to be specific on all of them, also because the question wasn't specific. I'm just going to give some vague, general things. For example, Fadeless, who I mentioned, he just stopped talking to me, he stopped hanging out with me. Anytime I tried to hang out with him, I've been told when he was asked about it, he literally said, "Oh yeah, I forgot about it." Never made any contact with me. It's been really hard, so he's just kind of left me. People like Butter, Matt9, and Wife9 I live with. Sleepy, I'm dating. Most other people I just don't talk to, because VR chat in a way is an MMO, and in MMOs, people don't tend to contact you outside of the MMO. In most MMOs you play, if you don't stay playing the MMO, you will lose almost every friend you've ever made in it, and that's basically what has happened to most people I met in VR chat, but that's about as in-depth as I'll go right now. If anyone has any questions about anyone in specific, ask below, and I will answer next Q&A. Armando Hernandez asks, are you still in a relationship? Of so, I guess if so, can you do a stream with of possible? I guess with if possible. And the answer is yes, as I just mentioned. I am currently dating Sleepy for my VR chat videos. I've done plenty of streams with her. She's joined me in a bunch of streams, like we streamed Toontown, we streamed Neverwinter, we streamed Secret World Legends, Soul Worker, VR chat, and even more things. These are just like the first 5 I could get off the top of my head. Off stream, we've also played things like Puzzle Pirates, Pokemon, a couple other things. And these are things that, by the way, like literally anybody, whether we're streaming or not, can join us in to some extent. All you gotta do is go to our community servers in the description below. It's very easy to join. You can join on your phone, your PC, on an app, or on a browser. And all you have to do is join and talk to us and ask to join us in a game. And literally any single viewer out of all 36 or 7 or however many thousand subscribers I have now would be free to join. We have people join us in streams all the time on Twitch. And as that has been, it will happen more. We will play more games, not just me and her, but we will stream more games together and as a community in general. And you are all free to join if you just join that community server below, or just talk about the games, or just talk to us in general. We're there, ready to conversate at any time. Come talk to us. I think I got everything there. This took a lot longer to record than expected, but I think all the questions are answered. I'm kind of out of breath. Once again, if you have any more questions you want to see answered for the next Q&A, leave them in the comments below. For those that haven't already noticed, I have a merch store now. You can get to it in the description below as well. There's not a lot on it yet, but we're getting more and more stuff added to it. If you'd like to see anything added to it, leave it in a comment somewhere on any video or in our server. I will see it. But other than that, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye, guys.